Friends, you all will be aware about the activities of the Accounting Standards Board. I think Sanjeev Bhai will dwell upon it in his talk later. We've all seen that on 30th of March, that is just 1 week into the lockdown, how aggressively and actively the ASB came out with its guidance on accounting issues that members are supposed to be facing due to COVID. At that point, most of us did not even know how long the lockdown was going to last. It was scheduled to be 3 weeks. We went to lockdown 2, 3, 4, 5. But this one publication of the Accounting Standards Board, friends, is such that even today, when we are in the unlock phase, is more relevant than it was on 30th of March, because it is now that we are actually doing the implementation, the closure of our books of accounts, listed companies being deadlined on 30th of June. And for other entities also, they have started to look at their year-end numbers only in this month. And I must compliment the ASB and AASB for the efforts that they are doing, not just in the standard writing process. We recently saw that they came out with the exposure draft for the amendment in IAS for leases. They're also taking up the old accounting standards and giving guidance on that. So I think yeoman service has been done, especially during this Corona lockdown period, by both our ASBs and the AASB. So these two boards, dear colleagues, you will all be aware because they are actively in the forefront of the institute's activities. It may be in the times of writing these standards. It may also be for giving guidance materials on these standards in the IFRS or in the old accounting standards. But one board that I personally believe is not in the forefront, and very rightly so, which does the activity in-house for the benefit of members at large. It is sometimes perceived or misunderstood to be a board which is only finding mistakes in the audited financial statements of auditors or companies. But I personally, as the chairman of FRRB, feel that the role of the FRRB is not to find mistakes, but it is actually to improve the quality of accounting standards and reporting, financial reporting in the country. And why do I say that? Let me first share with you, for all those of you who will not be aware about the activities of the board. At the FRRB, what we do is that the board picks up the general purpose financial statements of listed entities. There is a very scientific process through which the selection of companies occurs. Based on this selection of companies that are shortlisted by the board, we have technical reviewers which the board impanels. These technical reviewers look at financial statements which are randomly selected by the board. Let me assure all concerned members or the stakeholders that there is no particular bias in selection of the largest companies that we do for the account. There definitely is a para which allows the board to suo moto select certain cases which, in the opinion of the board, hamper the public interest or are bringing certain disrepute to the profession in the general sense of newspaper reports or other media coverage. Those samples, if we leave aside, large number of 95% of the cases are actually picked up on a random basis. Once these balance sheets are picked up, it is assured that they were not done in the previous year because random selection may occur that the same company gets picked up twice. We remove those doubly selected entity samples, replaced by the very next number that is there on the list, and they are then handed over to technical reviewers. These are experienced, seasoned chartered accountants who are doing audits day in, day out, well possessed of accounting standard skills and now Ind AS skills, which they review the financials and point out what are the common non-compliances that have occurred in financial statements. We don't just rely on the technical reviewer. This is then referred to what we call the FRRG, that is the Financial Reporting Review Group, which is situated in different cities, generally contains 5 to 6 senior experienced members, academicians, practitioners who look at the work of the technical reviewer and also look at the financial statements. And here they review and comment on not the findings of the TR, but also additional findings that they may have. And here, let me share with you certain examples, friends, which becomes extremely important. In fact, I've heard Amarjit sir share this experience at multiple forums, but we have, in fact, even this year come across certain cases where, for example, the director's report, strictly not a part of where the auditor is giving an opinion on the financial statements. But in the FRRG, the reviewers will look at that there is a board report which states that the company's outlook is bleak, the future is uncertain, there are no orders, and there are so many other points that have been made in the board report which actually show an issue regarding the going concern, its ability to repay all the debt that is there in the books. That is very clearly evident from the director's report. But when we look at the auditor's report or even the financial statements, there are cases where we have seen no emphasis of matter, no qualification, leave alone going concern. Even no appropriate disclosures were made in the financial statements. So these are typical issues which the FRRG will also look at. So they look at the technical reviewer, they look at the compliance of the accounting standards. We also look at the Schedule 3 and the Companies Act compliances. Moving forward, looking at that, the report of the technical reviewer and of the FRRG is then referred to the board, and the board then sits and analyzes each case one by one. And here we try and do a very objective assessment of all the non-compliances that have been noticed. If we feel that certain cases do not merit any qualification, or where the auditor's work has been in satisfaction of the board, in compliance with the standards, these cases are then, we don't pat the back of the auditors, of course, which I feel sometimes doesn't happen. We only end up shooting the messenger in terms of whenever the company goes wrong. So many financial statements where accurate financial reporting happens. Sadly, besides the awards that go out for annual recognition, which also only go to the management, and rarely ever do we see auditors being recognized for their compliance. I think that is sadly the profession that we live in. That is left across. Besides that, if we see certain non-compliances which are only disclosure related or do not have a bearing on the true and fair view of the financial statements, then for those we issue what is called an advisory to the auditors or the audit firm, stating where in the opinion of the board they could have done better. I'll give you a small example. Sir is going to discuss about the disclosure standards today, but even today we are looking at listed company balance sheets and people refer to the compliance of accounting standards with the AS issued by the institute. Nowhere is the Companies Act or the rules mentioned or referred and the compliance of that given in the disclosure of accounting policies. So now this is not something which is drastically affecting the true and fair view and would probably merit a advisory to the audit firm. But where we feel that certain treatment of the accounting standard itself is flawed and there may have been a material effect of that transaction if the compliance of the standard would have happened, then these get referred to the director discipline and the disciplinary proceeding then follows. What I'm trying to share with you, dear colleagues, with this entire process is that the FRRB plays the role of the conscious keeper of assuring or reassuring the services of our auditors. And this year at the FRRB, we have taken up the mammoth challenge of doing 200 reviews of financial statements. It's going to be a steep task. The previous average of all the years has been 50 to 60 financial statements. But I'm grateful to all my council colleagues who have given me additional technical reviewers, who have taken up the responsibility of chairing the FRRGs at multiple locations. And most grateful to my board, who is meeting for 3-day meetings regularly, almost every other week, to consider all of these financial statements. And why I am saying that? In today's world, friends, it is extremely critical that we understand that our work is subject to higher scrutiny. Gone are the days that the auditor's word was the final word and there was no other check after that. In fact, now we are just at the entry gate. With so many bank NPAs happening, there is a second level of check which happens on the auditor's financial statements, is compliance in the form of forensic audits, which have now become extremely prevalent. If forensic audits are done, sometimes we have the FRRB which is picked up. We also have the QRB which is reviewing. And now for the public interest entities, we have NFRA, which is looking at the compliance of not just accounting, but also the auditing standards. So a huge responsibility is now cast upon the shoulder of auditors. And therefore, my request and the main purpose, and grateful to Sanjeev Bhai for sharing this dais and structuring this entire program to give awareness about compliance of accounting standards. In this new regulatory regime, when I mentioned about the FRRB, the QRB, NFRA, when I mentioned upon forensic auditors, and most importantly about all other regulators, it may be the MCA, the RBI or SEBI, deeply looking into the financial statement and compliance. The overall understanding in the common public about these standards increasing by the day, we cannot live in the past. And so my request to all members with folded hands is, let's try and look at standards in this year and going forward with a new perspective. Whenever there is an amendment in the Income Tax Act, we remember the section, the subsection, all the judgments that have come out in the Supreme Court. Let's put our hand to our heart and ask how many of us can even quote the correct paras of the standard, leave alone the names or anything else. We do not pay attention. And for that, I request all of us, my personal belief is that we have to get over the old concept of format. कि हमने भैया इस जन से ऑडिट रिपोर्ट का फॉर्मेट ले लिया और उन जन से हमने बैलेंस शीट का फॉर्मेट ले लिया और चीजों को फॉर्मेट में डालते हैं. बिकॉज अगर हम फॉर्मेट में चीजें डालते रहें तो हमारा काम एज अ प्रोफेशनल नहीं होगा, बट वी आर रिड्यूसिंग आवर प्राइड. एंड लेट मी गिव यू अ सिंपल एग्जांपल टू अंडरस्कोर दिस पॉइंट. When we are in this pandemic situation, when there is corona, if our doctors and scientists also use formats and give you a drug for some other problem and say please इसको try करिए और ठीक हो जाएगा, भैया वो format से वो problem solve नहीं होगा. If our engineers and architects use a format, the beautiful architecture that we see in Delhi, Ahmedabad or anywhere in the country, if you have all the buildings which are the same structure, probably हर एक office government office लगेगी. Because they are not following formats, they are able to give us some phenomenal things to follow, to accept, to acknowledge, and more importantly, to increase the branding of the profession. So for us as chartered accountants, if we feel somewhere that why does our chartered accountancy profession not get the same level of importance as these other professions, हमें भी थोड़ी मेहनत करनी होगी. Income tax पे people salute us. GST service tax, the erstwhile excise, people salute us. But accounting, which is our core competence, we are chartered accountants, so accountants first. If we do not focus on our accounting and auditing skills, I think a lot of it ground gets lost. So my appeal to everybody through this series is, let's try and relearn our understanding of these standards. Even if you don't look at these standards para by para and remember or memorize them, it's okay. But the crux and the essence, of these standards can be understood, I think a lot of non-compliances can be avoided. And for us sitting in the council or some of us in the benches of the disciplinary, it becomes so much easier, and so happy are we to see compliance of these standards, because that is going to be your biggest savior. If you are to represent your case tomorrow at any disciplinary or mechanism of the NFRA or other body, your biggest suraksha kavach, if I can use the word, is in fact your standard. It's not a burden. If you are able to show that I have complied with this standard, you will be in a much better stead than just doing things following formats. So with these words, I hope I have been able to share with you the activities of the board. More importantly, underscore the importance of compliance of these standards. And I'm extremely thankful to all the faculties, to all the staff of ASB and FRRB for arranging this seminar. And I hope that the knowledge dissemination of this series, which has started with accounting standards, continues with the Ind AS commonly observed non-compliances. We yet do not have a publication on that as we do for these standards. But with Sanjeev Bhai and the entire might of ASB, I'm sure, with guidance of Amarjeet sir, we will be able to do a session on non-compliance of India's financial statements very soon. I once again welcome all of you, and I thank you for your